Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It feels like I have not sat down in front of a camera in so long. Honestly, probably because I haven't. Your girl's been struggling ever since I got back from my trip. I do hope you guys enjoyed that content. Those videos are some of my proudest creations. I love how they turned out. But we are back to our regularly scheduled program, which is book content. And today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book tag. I've seen quite a few people on YouTube do this, and I got a couple people requesting me to do this, so I thought I would. If you'd like to participate, you definitely should. Let me know in the comments if you make a video doing this because I would love to watch it. I will leave all of the questions at the top of the description below, so if I'm looking over here, it's because I have my computer with all the questions on it, so let's get started. So the first question is, what is the best book that I've read in 2023? And I picked two because I couldn't choose. The first one being Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I absolutely loved this book. I actually filmed me reading it at the beginning of the year, and it was obviously a 5 stars for me. So good. I highly recommend this. This is definitely high fantasy, but if you're a fantasy lover, please read this. So good. The other book is like technically a series, but I just always consider it a book, and that's the Mindfuck series because all 5 books together are like about 700 pages, and I've read 700-page books before, so I just consider it one book because I don't know. I don't care, but like whatever. I loved this. This like collection of stories, can I speak English, was incredible. Definitely read the trigger warnings. There's some very dark subjects in this, and it does get very descriptive. And just a fair warning, it was so good. The roller coaster of emotions it had me feeling, yeah. The next question is, what is the best sequel you have read in 2023? Once again, I picked 2 books because they're kind of a tie for me. They're very different though. The first one being Hunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. This is the sequel to Haunting Adeline. H.D. Carlton is such a good writer. This book is very dark. There are a ton of things in here that are hard to read. I definitely had to set down this book a few times while reading it. There's stuff in this series that I don't particularly agree with, but personally I separate myself from the book in terms of I'm not really thinking too much about the morals of characters because these aren't real people, and if they were, the morals of real people aren't that good either. Look at Planet Earth, babes. I'm more looking at the character growth in this book, which if you've read Haunting Adeline, you have to read this to have a full opinion of the series, because the way that Adeline and Zaid changed from the first book to this book is phenomenal. The way that they care for each other, I don't want to explain too much because it would be a lot of spoilers, but this is a very particular taste in books. You have to like it. You either love it or you hate it, and it's okay if you don't like it. You can't deny that Haley is a phenomenal writer. Got quite a dark theme going on here. And the other book is The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. Very different from Haunting Adeline, but this was the other sequel that I absolutely loved. This was so freaking good. I love this fantasy series. I recommend it to everybody, even if you don't really read fantasy. I think it's perfect for beginner fantasy readers. It was so good. It ends on such a cliffhanger. Once again, character development. Yeah, this one is just much more action-packed than Once Upon a Broken Heart. There we go. We're adding a little bit of pink now. The next question is new releases that you haven't read yet but you want to. I picked 3 books that I have that I really want to read but haven't yet. The first one being Reckless by Elsie Silver, and I obviously have to read the other 2 books in the series because I've only read Flawless, but Reckless did just come out, and Theo, we do meet him in Flawless, and I actually really did like his character in Flawless. It's very like sporadic, you don't know too much about him, but I am excited to get to this eventually, and I do really love Elsie Silver's writing, so I can't wait to read Heartless. And then I have Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I read When in Rome in May, and it was so cute. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, but it just made me super excited for this one, and it's just the cutest book ever. I am very excited to read this one. Okay, what's going on here? Black to pink. I mean, slay, but... And then the last one is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. You're supposed to read part of your world before you read this one, so I haven't read it yet, but I've heard great things about this book. I'm very excited to read it. I've actually started part of your world, but stopped reading it. I don't even actually remember why. I think I had to read a book for a video or something, but anyway, that's so irrelevant. And then the next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have two. I probably have more than that, but I'm always so confused when release dates for books are, so there probably is more, but these are the two that I could think of right away. First being obviously A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber, the last and final book of the trilogy. As I just said about The Ballad of Never After, it ends on such a big cliffhanger that I just need to know what happens. I cannot wait for that. I think it comes out in October or November. I know she pushed the date back, so I can't remember exactly when, but I am so excited. And then the other book is If Only I Had Told Her, which is the sequel, I guess, to... what's it called? Oh, If He Had Been With Me. I don't know why I forgot for a second. Except it's not really a sequel, it's just If He Had Been With Me, but from Finn's perspective instead of Autumn. And if you've read If He Had Been With Me, you know why I want to read this. We all know how it ends. We all know it's gonna end in heartbreak, but I still can't wait to read it because I have to know Finn's perspective. You know what I mean? Okay, the next one is Biggest Surprise, which I didn't really know what that meant. I just took it kind of as like books that surprised me in like a way that I didn't think they were gonna make me, I don't know. The first one I picked was And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Bachman. This one because it's literally 70 pages and it surprised me how much emotion I felt reading this. The fact that 70 pages could make me bawl my eyes out. How are you able to write like that? In 70 pages was able to make me feel so many emotions. So I can't imagine how good his full-length novels are, and I can't wait to read them. And then the other one is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I picked this one because it surprised me in terms of how much I liked it, because I didn't think I was gonna like it that much. I didn't think I was gonna hate it. It's just rom-coms aren't usually like favorites for me, but this book was so good. There was a lot of like personal development going on with the characters, and I really like that in books because it just makes it feel more personal. This book is only just 300 pages and it was written so good, so it just surprised me how much I liked it compared to how much I thought I was gonna like it. The next question is favorite new author, which is either a debut author or just new to me. I just picked new to me because I'm a fairly new reader, just started last year. So the first one being Carissa Broadbent, who wrote Crowns of Nyaxia novel. Okay, whatever. She wrote this little, I guess it's a duology. This is like a little novella in the middle. I loved it so much. Her writing is incredible. She is a great fantasy writer, so I definitely want to read more of her books. I have one on my shelf. What's it called? Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. She is definitely one of my new favorite authors. And then the other one being Lauren Asher, obviously. You guys have heard me talk about her so many times, and for good reason. She is a great author. You can see how much I tabbed all of my Dreamland Billionaires books. I love this trilogy. I read it inside of 1 month, and I definitely want to read her Dirty Air series, and I can't wait for her new book coming out later this year. Oh, that's another one. That's another anticipated release. Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. That's another one. I forgot. See, I can't ever remember anything. Yeah, Lauren Asher, definitely another favorite author. The next question is newest fictional crush, which was hard for me because this happens every time I read a book. I did have to pick the newest. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've known that June was a horrifying reading month for me. I read one book. I've been in a really bad reading slump, so a book shopping video is probably in the near future because I need some inspiration. But my newest crush would be Rhett from Flawless. I read this on the plane to Hawaii and I loved it. I've never been a country girly, definitely stayed far away from that. I grew up in Kentucky, so there's enough of it. I'm not a fan. This was a little bit different for me and I really liked his character. I liked the whole bull riding concept, which was weird because that's not something I particularly would ever choose to read. I looked at the fan art and I was like, okay, I do like a man with long hair. We can work with that. Okay, the next one is a book that made you cry, which was hard because I cry all the time. So I've probably cried at a lot of books, but the one that made me cry the most, I think, was Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. And if you've read this, you know why. Because what the actual happened? I don't know. I have no words. Absolutely none. Yeah, definitely made me cry for good reason. Once again, literally reality TV, drama, soap opera, the most dramatic thing you will ever read in your entire life is right here. Now, on the flip side, we've got a book that made me happy. There was a lot of books that I've already showed you that I probably would have picked again for some of these, but I tried to pick different books for each question. So for this one, we have Better Than the Movies. This was actually my first read of 2023, and it was so freaking good. It's the cutest little book ever. Smiling, laughing, kicking my feet in the air, having a great old time reading this book. I'm usually not one to really enjoy rom-coms. They're just like a book for me, but this one is really good, and I love Lynn Pater's writing. She's a really good author. And then the other book is Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. I read this while in Hawaii, but I barely read while I was on my trip because we were so busy, so I finished it on the plane. This book is so good. I loved it so much. It is such a happy, feel-good book. It's a perfect book for summer too. Just about like this little 14-year-old girl in the 1970s. Has very much a found family aspect to it that I really, really loved. I love feel-good books because, you know, sometimes I don't want to bawl my eyes out every time I read a book, you know? These feel-good books are sometimes very necessary, and this is definitely one of those. All right, we're nearing the end. We got 2 questions left. The most beautiful books that you've bought this year. One of my faves is my special edition of Love and Other Words. This cover is incredible. Like, I love Elliot and Macy on the front. The back has just some books on it. And then the inside of the cover, I have to show you guys. First of all, the book is so pretty. The green, yup, has baby Elliot and Macy. Like, you can't tell me that isn't so cute. Definitely a prized possession of mine is this book right here. Put her back in her rightful place. And then the other books that I am proud to have owned are my original ACOTAR editions. If you didn't know, the first 2 I actually found at Half Price Books for $10 each. They are also signed by Sarah J. Maas herself, both of the first 2, so incredible. $20 for both of these, which they are a little bit stained and everything, but these are a prized possession, one of my best purchases of the year, and probably will stay that way. And then after I found those, I really wanted the rest of the collection to finish it and just have them on display. And so on Pango Books, I found the 3rd one for relatively cheap, and obviously not signed or anything, but it is the original cover. And then same with Frost and Starlight. I found it for relatively cheap as well. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? If I were to sit here and tell you them, we'd be here literally for the next week. I probably need to read every book on my shelf. I picked 3 to show you. Obviously you can tell probably by the first one because it is Fourth Ring by Rebecca Yarros. I did start reading this and I've just been in such a bad reading slump and just had so much going on that I can't focus on it. So I decided to put it down because it's been so hyped up. I know it's gonna be a good book, so I want to give it the attention that it deserves when I read it. Hopefully I will get to this eventually. I am really excited to read it. I've heard so many good things and we love a good fantasy. The next one is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, which is the sequel to Six of Crows, and I obviously need to read this because I read Six of Crows and I need to know how it ends, but I'm scared because people say that this one ends very sadly and I've tried so hard to avoid spoilers. I actually also started reading this one and I'm pretty far in. I'm actually on page 175, so I just need to keep going. It's just fantasies are not what my brain can handle right now. And then the last book is Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. I just want to finish the Magnolia Park series out for now. I think there's more books coming out, but I want to know where we're at. Where are we standing at after how the last one ended? It does kind of suck because I know I'm not going to really know what happened in The Long Way Home because this is from different characters, but I am on page 54 of this one as well. So I started reading all of these. I just need to finish them, but they're very high on my list. So hopefully I do read them before the end of the year. You guys will find out with me. So that is all for this book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button. We can see where my reading stats go. I'm excited to see what books I read and everything. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I'm so excited to hit 1,000. I didn't even start my channel a year ago, so this is crazy. And I love all the people that support my videos because I love making them. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I will see you guys in my next one. Peace.